Welcome to group call 3. What I wanted to talk about today is we talked last time about setting procedures to develop processes going forward, and it's all about how to get yourself out of the business so that you can make the business more profitable, either by finding more time to do the stuff that you like in the business, or other things that are other things outside of the business, or other things that are profitable to the business that you might not otherwise be a part of. So, well, very often when people are developing products, they don't spend enough time thinking about maximizing the profit and effort in terms of what products they're creating. And the scalability and the recurring revenue ideas are two aspects where if you spend a little bit of time, you can start targeting towards targeting towards more. Good. Okay. You still see it? Yes? We're good? Okay. So like I said, we're going to be talking about scalability and recurring revenue. And basically remember that what I'm trying to do, my goal is that I'm trying to give you, through all of this stuff, more time in your day. But the ultimate goal is that you will have a business that you can sell or leave on your terms in a profitable way in 5 years or less. This is not a ridiculous or outrageous goal. I've known people who, when they set their mind to it, did it in 3 years. And let's face it, if you had to overnight, you could. The problem would be that you would not get the value out of it that you deserve. So we're focused on time and task management, and obviously. So let's talk about scalability first. What do I talk about? Well, when was the last time that you thought about the products, and what sort of things did you consider when you were developing your products? And I know that some of us, we've had discussions of what kind of packages to offer people. We're going to talk about that in the recurring revenue section. But when you're talking about scalability, the key thing for me is, how do we most effectively use your time as the owner of the business? What do I mean? Is it something that you can teach someone else in the organization to do? That doesn't mean you have that person in the organization to do the work, but is it something that eventually you could teach someone else to do? There are many things in most of our businesses that cannot be taught to someone else, but there are a lot of aspects of business, and I'm going to give you some examples so you know what I'm talking about, that can be delegated to someone else that you can then manage. That's what I'm talking about here. The second question is, how valuable do your customers think that this actual product is? In other words, if you can provide a higher value product that you can teach somebody else to do, you can see that you can manipulate that to create a significant amount of value in your business. The third question is the sale repeatable, or is it a one-time deal? Again, think about it. If you had a repeatable product, one that every 6 months, every 3 months, every year, that people come back and purchase from you, it's worth more to you. You could even offer that at a lower price if someone were to continually come back to purchase the same thing over and over again. Okay, so why is this analysis important? As I said, the more teachable a product is, the more you can delegate this to someone else. The more valuable a product is, the more you can charge for it. The more repeatable of a product, the more of that product you can sell to an individual owner, or an individual customer, excuse me. Remember, it is a very expensive thing to get a new client. Once you have that new client, you want to upsell them as much as possible. Well, if it's repeatable, it's just that much easier. So let's take a look at a concrete example. Let's suppose that you have a photography business where you are taking photos of people, and sometimes you get invited to special events. Sometimes you have other opportunities. Let's look at this rubric that I've just put forward of repeatability, teachability, and value, and see how that plays out in terms of the products that a photography studio might offer. Now, for each of these different criteria, we're going to rank them from 1 to 9. And because this photography studio does not really exist, these numbers are made up. But you can see what the analysis is and gives you a flavor for what it is. Remember, as with everything else, I don't want you to be so hung up on having a precise number for each of these products. Instead, this is meant generally to get you thinking about these issues, because often what I found is that people are very focused on value, but they're not always focused on the teachability of a specific product, and they're not always focused on the repeatability of a product. And the repeatability, like I said, will be also important in the recurring revenue section. So let's look at this. Let's pick a wedding first. If you're hired as a photographer for a wedding, you could probably teach somebody else how to take the right pictures, what pictures you need. You know, you need a picture of the bride and the groom at the altar. You need them feeding each other cake. You need the throwing of the garter, whatever the steps are. And the value to the customer of the wedding photos is high. So that person, that couple is probably willing to pay a premium to get it done and get it done well. Hopefully, aspirationally, it's not repeatable. Hopefully, you're not invited for one of the parties to get married over and over again. You know, some people renew their vows, but hopefully you only get married once. And so on a scale of 1 to 30, you can see each one of these having 10. This is a 16, kind of in the middle. Worth doing, but because of that repeatability problem, it may not be as valuable to you. Let's look at some other ones. Baseball teams. Now, you know, if you know anything about me, I spend a lot of time in the baseball fields, and as a result, I have a lot of photos of baseball. Is it teachable? Most certainly. It is easier than wedding photos in the sense that there are really individual shots and a group shot. Not complicated. So there's high value, high teachability. You could get somebody else to do this for you. In terms of value, it's not without value, but it's not as valuable because it's all the time, and you have to get people to buy the packages. And you know, once you have one, do you really need 30 of them? On the other hand, repeatability, that is repeatable. In fact, it's not only repeatable within a league. Once you get it to work, you can go to the next league and offer the same service. So it's highly repeatable. So maybe this baseball team's idea, as we're evaluating this, oh gosh, hold on a second. That is my phone ringing because I have the wrong window open. I apologize for that. Let me see if I can turn that off. There. Sorry about that. Okay, so as I was saying, as we're evaluating this hypothetical photography studio, the baseball team idea might be a slightly better one. It's close, but it's a little bit easier to get somebody else to do. It is highly repeatable, and it's of some value. Corporate events, another opportunity for photographic for a photography studio. There, it may not be as teachable because there's every corporate event is slightly different. You need to really know what you're doing when you're taking these photos. It, like the weddings, is a one-time event, highly valuable. The corporate entity is going to want to have the right photos taken. Is it repeatable? It might be, it might not be. If it's an annual retreat and you get invited every year, great, but maybe they don't do a retreat every year. Maybe they don't have these types of events all the time. So it's somewhere in between the baseball events and the wedding events. So you see how this analysis can be put together? When you put the numbers together, all of these sort of fit in the same place, depending on, here, it depends on who you have around and your current state of the business. For example, if you have someone who you could delegate to easily, maybe the baseball teams are something that you would want to look at more because that's something you can actually get them to do. If you are worried that you're not worried about getting repeat customers, then perhaps the weddings are something somewhere where you would want to look because you're not worried about the repeatability. But then there's the idea of school photos. And you see, school photos are something that's very teachable, that are valuable. Think about the number of packages that people buy for school photos. Like, your kids comes home with your pictures, and of course you buy them. And it's repeatable because it's done every year. So if you had a photographic business, a photography business, maybe the key would be for you to look towards the school photos as a possibility, or as a linchpin of your business as you're developing. In terms of the products that each of you offer, this type of analysis, like I said, is not a exact science, but you can see when you evaluate the services that you're offering or the products that you're offering, which ones will lead to be the most scalable. And I thought I would had defined this at the beginning, but maybe I didn't. The idea behind scalability is, today I'm selling one, but now that I know how to sell one, I can sell 5. And if I can sell 5, I can sell 10. And that's how you make the real money. It gets you away from the one-to-one and gets you to a one-to-many. And that will lead to greater profits. And that's the idea behind all of it.